Belarus authoritarian leader Alexander Lukashenko called on exiled activists to return to their homeland to repent and kneel after surviving an unprecedented wave of protests in recent years. The strongman, who has ruled the nation with an iron fist for almost 30 years, also promised to step down if his compatriots make the decision for him at his annual State of the Nation address in Minsk on Friday. Mr. Lukashenko claimed that no more than 10% of the population opposes his rule, and urged opposition activists in exile to come home, on your knees, groveling. My advice to you, come home, repent and kneel, he said. It will get worse further on. The dictator's comments come after facing the strongest demonstrations against his rule in recent years. Up to 200,000 protesters took to the streets after he claimed to win a sixth consecutive term in office during August 2020 elections, which were said to be rigged by Western observers. Protesters demanded a new ballot and Mr. Lukashenko's removal but faced a brutal crackdown by the authorities, with more than 35,000 arrested and thousands brutally beaten. The situation famously came to a head when Lukashenko personally ordered the Soviet-made MiG-29 fighter jet containing dissident YouTuber Roman Protasevich to make a dramatic U-turn during its course to Lithuania. Key opposition figures, including Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya, Mr. Lukashenko's main contender in the election, have left the country amid the clampdown, along with thousands of ordinary Belarusians. Lukashenko ordered blackouts of mainstream social media sites, meaning the populace turned to alternative channels for information about protests. Roman Protasevich, 26, was placed under house arrest and forced into a tearful on-air apology with Belarusian state media after pleading guilty to organizing unsanctioned protests. Little has been heard about him since. The Ryanair flight carrying him and 170 other passengers was forced into a dramatic diversion in May 2021 after a fake bomb threat was issued by the Belarusian government, at the request of Lukashenko according to Western analysts. Serhiy Tsikhanouski, the husband of prominent and exiled opposition leader Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya, was sent to a maximum security colony in what is widely seen as a retaliatory move by Lukashenko, who is often dubbed Europe's last dictator due to his authoritarian style of government. Mr. Tsikhanouski, who was arrested and jailed in May last year when his popularity with the voting public began to swell, was sentenced at the Gomel Regional Court following a 173-day trial. He had denied the charges. His wife, speaking from exile in Lithuania, where she resides with their 2 children, branded the verdict revenge as she vowed to continue trying to remove Lukashenko, 67, who is the continent's longest-serving president, having taken power in 1994. And one of the country's most prominent opposition figures, Maria Kolesnikova, was sentenced to 11 years in prison last September. After suppressing the protests, Mr. Lukashenko repeatedly aired vague and non-committal promises to step down. On Friday, he stressed it was up to the people. "You will decide, and this president will retire. If you consider necessary that I do more for this country, you will say so." Last week, Mr. Lukashenko called the referendum for February 27 on constitutional amendments that could allow him to further cement his grip on power and remain in office until 2035. The amendments bring back limits on presidential terms that had been abolished during Mr. Lukashenko's tenure, allowing a president only 2 5-year terms in office. However, the restriction will only take effect once a newly elected president assumes office, which gives Mr. Lukashenko an opportunity to run for 2 more terms after his current one expires in 2025. The amendments also confer substantial new powers on the Belarus People's Assembly, a body that nominally represents a wide array of Belarusian society but that in the past has consisted largely of government officials and supporters. The president automatically becomes a member of the assembly and can be elected by the other delegates as its chairman.